Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into some powerful truths about life that might just shift your perspective. This isn't just another video, think of it as a little wake-up call. If you're ready to get real about what it takes to live a fulfilling life, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more insights like these. And feel free to drop a comment if anything resonates with you, we love hearing your thoughts. Alright, let's jump in. You know, sometimes, we find ourselves blaming the clowns in our lives, the people who bring chaos, drama, and just keep showing up in our world acting, well, exactly like clowns. But here's the kicker, if we keep going back to that circus, it's on us. Ask yourself, why do you keep revisiting situations and people that drain you, bring you down, or hold you back? Imagine all the amazing things ahead of you, they're out there, waiting, but you'll never see them if you're constantly looking back at the mess you left behind. Instead of asking why certain people act a certain way, start asking why you allow it. It's tough, but sometimes you've got to take responsibility for the people you let into your life. Yes, we're all a little broken, that's just how it is. But that's also how the light gets in, right? Every crack, every scar, lets in a little more understanding, empathy, and, yes, strength. But let's be real, the most painful thing? It's losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much, forgetting that you're special too. You don't have to put yourself on the back burner just because you care about someone. When you're too focused on them, you lose sight of who you are and what you need. That love, that relationship, might feel consuming, but never forget your own worth in the process. Your past. It's not just a pile of regret and mistakes. It's an opportunity. Think of every mistake, every setback as a lesson, a roadmap to help you handle today. Because here's the deal, you're free to make choices, but you're not free from their consequences. Every decision shapes the road you're on. And now is definitely not the time to obsess over what you don't have. Instead, focus on what you can do with what you do have. That shift in mindset? It's huge. Here's a little pro tip. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't go to for advice. This one's gold, trust me. If you wouldn't trust them with the big stuff, why let them tear you down with the small stuff? And speaking of trust and confidence, the fastest way to build that inner belief is to do exactly what scares you. That leap of faith? It's terrifying, but it's also where you find yourself. Let's be honest, most people don't want to hear the bad stuff, the struggles, the challenges. So finding someone to confide in when things get rough? Yeah, it's not always easy. And here's a harsh reality, once you hurt someone, they'll remember it. That hurt sticks. So every little thing you do matters more than you think. Oh, and here's a big one. People may want you to succeed, but not more than they want themselves to succeed. When it comes down to it, everyone's looking out for their own story, their own version of success. So, don't be surprised if not everyone is cheering you on as loudly as you'd hope. Change, it's hard at first, messy in the middle, and absolutely gorgeous at the end. But here's the catch, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. It's those actions that define you. If you want to reach new places in life, sometimes you've got to let go of certain things holding you back. And timing? It's everything. Leaving things at the right time saves you from regrets and all those what-ifs down the road. Now, let's talk about love and vulnerability for a second. Whether you know it or not, the people you love are often your biggest weaknesses. But they're also your biggest strengths. Losing someone you love doesn't mean they're gone completely. You carry pieces of them with you. And remember, no is a powerful word. Sometimes, you've got to say it to protect your own peace. Don't be a people pleaser because, trust me, at the end of the day, the only person you can count on in the toughest times? That's you. These hard times? They're what make you wise, mature, and fearless. And here's a tough truth, when you're working to build someone else's dream, you're sacrificing your own. You can only give so much of yourself before there's nothing left for what you truly want. Your best teacher? It's your last mistake. People who are doing less than you will often be the ones throwing criticism your way. Why? Because seeing someone else succeed sometimes shines a light on what they're not doing. So when someone tells you, you can't, they're really just showing you the limits they've set for themselves. And hey, let's talk about appreciation. If you're doing things for someone and they start expecting it rather than appreciating it, it's time to reevaluate. Stop wasting energy on people who don't see what you bring to the table. And when it comes to disagreements, don't raise your voice, raise your argument. If you're making one person the center of your happiness, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. When they walk away, you're left with nothing. And if you ever feel like giving up, just think about why you held on for so long in the first place. Don't let a relationship, or the idea of one, derail your goals. Balance is key. Failure? It's a guide, showing you what's not working, pointing you toward what might. And here's another tough truth. No matter how kind or friendly you are, some people just won't like you. And you know what? That's okay. Don't waste your time trying to win everyone over. Focus on the ones who matter. And that's it for this part, but don't go anywhere, we're just getting started. There's so much more to cover, so stick around for part 2. And hey, if you're feeling these truths, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a little reminder that they're not alone in this. See you in the next section. Ever find yourself wondering why you're so hung up on someone who isn't around anymore? It's normal. You can fall in love more than once, and the truth is, if someone leaves, maybe it's for the best. Sometimes, that heartbreak clears the path for better things. But it's not easy to just move on, right? You've got to make some practical choices about what you want from life and what you're willing to give up to get there. And here's the thing, if you don't make those choices for yourself, life will end up making them for you. Change only happens when you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. Everything you're used to, that's holding you back. If you're repeating the same mistakes over and over, it's no longer a mistake, it's a choice. And even when you make all the right choices, sometimes you just have to sit back and watch things fall apart around you. That's life. You pick up the pieces, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. Take this, for example, I love going to the zoo. But not on Sundays. The people standing around, making fun of the animals? It's frustrating because, honestly, it should be the other way around. It's moments like these that make you realize we're stronger where we've been broken. Each scar tells a story, and that resilience becomes a part of who we are. Every single life ends the same way. What sets us apart is how we live, the details of our journey. Courage is grace under pressure, they say, but it's more than that. You have to choose to stand strong when everything around you is crashing down. Man isn't made for defeat. You can be beaten down, but that doesn't mean you're defeated. The first and last task you have in life is to survive it and not let it break you. And here's a little secret, what other people think of you. It's none of your business. The bad times, though? Those are blessings in disguise. They wake you up to everything good that you might have overlooked. Impatience, on the other hand, will make life feel 10 times harder. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a superpower. With a little patience, you can work through nearly anything. Now, action is worth way more than reading or planning. You can make all the perfect plans in the world, but until you take that first step, it's all just theory. Experience, on the other hand, is the best teacher. Nothing compares to learning the hard way. And self-respect? That's the foundation of it all. People can see if you don't respect yourself, and they'll treat you accordingly. Cherish the people you love, because nothing is guaranteed. Anyone you love can be taken from you in an instant. And trust, it's fragile. It might take years to build, but it can shatter in seconds. So don't be afraid to make the tough choices. Those are often the best ones you'll make. The more time you spend clinging to the past, the dimmer your future becomes. Here's something a bit harsh but true, good things come to those who wait and persevere. It might be a long, tough road, but in the end, it's worth it. The pain and patience will eventually lead to something great. In fact, pain can be a strong motivator. Sometimes, The best decisions come from a place of pain because you never want to feel that way again. The word later? It's often just another way of saying never. If you keep putting things off, they're probably not going to happen. And never, ever chase after someone's sympathy. The people who genuinely care about you will be there without you needing to ask. Real friends and family don't need constant reminders that you're struggling. If they're truly there for you, they'll already know. Another thing to remember, you can't make someone love you by giving them more of what they already don't appreciate. Sometimes, you've got to swallow the pain, pick yourself up, and grow on your own. Money? It doesn't buy happiness, but poverty sure can bring challenges. Problems are rarely as big as we think they are. Often, they're only as big as we make them in our minds. In your 20s? Relationships are going to come and go. Most won't last, but that's okay because they're just practice for something more real down the road. Don't stress too much. All these relationships are preparing you for when you're ready for something long-lasting. Learn to be content by yourself. If you constantly need company to feel happy, you're weakening yourself. Happiness needs to come from within. And whatever you do, don't let emotions take over your decisions, whether they're your own or someone else's. That only leads to choices you'll regret. A little practical tip: don't borrow something you can't afford to replace. It's a good rule to live by. And here's something a lot of people don't realize: the disciplined ones are the only truly free ones. Without discipline, you're a slave to your moods, passions, and impulses. Lessons will keep coming around until you've learned them. Life has a funny way of repeating itself until you get the message. Hiding from problems won't make them go away. Facing them head-on is the only way to grow. Regrets? They can last a lifetime if you don't learn to forgive yourself and others. And yes, people will sometimes take advantage of your kindness. It's up to you to set boundaries and not let them. Too often, we walk away from our dreams, afraid that we might fail, or even more terrifying, that we might succeed. You can't expect everyone to be kind to you, just as you can't be kind to everyone. There's only so much of yourself you can give, and sometimes, you have to prioritize self-respect over the urge to please others. Friends and family? They don't always know what's best for you. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you should let them treat you poorly. You've got to take risks, even if it's scary. If you don't step out of your comfort zone, you'll always be wondering, what if? In the worst times, that's when you'll see the true colors of the people around you. Those who say they care might not show up when you need them most. And if you don't heal from what's hurt you, that pain will spill over onto people who had nothing to do with it. Blaming others? That's just a way to avoid responsibility. Real change comes from within. Knowledge isn't free, it requires you to pay attention. And one last thing, when the boat rocks, it's not always time to jump overboard. Sometimes, you've just got to steady yourself, keep going, and trust that you'll find your way through the storm. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like, and comment below. Every bit of support helps us bring you more content that makes a difference. Alright, let's keep going. Have you ever noticed how some people talk a lot about what they're going to do but never actually do it? Here's the truth: intentions don't mean a thing without action. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Want to get somewhere in life? You have to start moving. Sometimes, reaching a new destination requires leaving something behind. It's about knowing what to keep and what to let go of. Timing is everything. Leave things at the right moment, or you'll end up with a heart full of regrets and a head full of complaints. And let's talk about love for a second. It's true that the people you love the most are often your biggest weaknesses. But they're also your strength. You may lose someone you love, but that doesn't mean they're truly gone. They live on in your memories, in the lessons they taught you, and in the person you became because of them. Remember, saying no can be one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. You don't have to be a people pleaser to be loved. Sometimes, protecting your peace means setting boundaries, even with the people you care about the most. In the hardest moments of life, when you feel most alone, you'll realize just how strong you are. These tough times? They'll shape you, making you wiser, stronger, and fearless. And here's the thing about working for someone else's dream: every second you spend building their vision is a second you're not building your own. You have your own dreams, and you owe it to yourself to chase them. Have you ever noticed who criticizes you the most? It's rarely the people who are doing more than you, it's usually those doing less. They're projecting their own insecurities onto you. And when someone tells you that you can't do something, they're just showing you their limitations, not yours. One of the hardest lessons is learning to stop doing things for people who don't appreciate it. When it becomes expected rather than valued, it's time to take a step back. And when it comes to arguments, don't raise your voice, raise your argument. If your words have strength, you don't need to shout. If you're centering all your happiness around one person, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. People come and go, it's just a part of life. If that one person leaves, you don't want to be left with nothing. And in those moments when you feel like giving up, remember why you started in the first place. There was a reason you held on for so long. Don't let temporary emotions make you forget your long-term goals. Never put relationships before your own dreams and goals. It's tempting, but doing so can make you lose both. And failure? It's not the end. It's a guide. Failure shows you what isn't working so that you can find what will. Making the right choice doesn't always feel good either. Sometimes, you'll feel a little lost, even after making the best decision for yourself. Here's a reality check: no matter how friendly, nice, or accommodating you are, some people just won't like you. It doesn't matter what you do, so don't waste your energy trying to win them over. Focus on the people who genuinely care. You'll find your tribe eventually, and they'll appreciate you for who you are. You don't have to put all your love into one person. It's possible to fall in love more than once. And if someone you love walks away, don't see it as the end. It might just be the start of something new. Life sometimes makes these decisions for us, forcing us to let go of people or situations so that we can grow in new directions. Big decisions? They're necessary. You have to decide what you want from life and what you're willing to give up. And if you don't take charge and make those choices, life will do it for you. Change is about breaking old habits, letting go of what's familiar, and stepping into something new. It's uncomfortable, sure, but growth happens when you're willing to try things you've never done before. And here's a truth many avoid: if you repeat a mistake more than once, it's no longer a mistake, it's a decision. Sometimes you make the best possible choices, and things still fall apart. That's life. You pick up the pieces and keep going because, ultimately, life doesn't stop for anyone. Strength? It's built in the places where we've been broken. Every painful experience leaves its mark, and those marks make us stronger. Life is short. At the end of the day, it's not about how much you went through but how you handled it. And remember, it's none of your business what other people think of you. Focus on your path and let them focus on theirs. Bad times can be a blessing because they teach you to appreciate the good. When you're going through hard times, you start to see everything you took for granted. And patience? It's more than just waiting. It's learning to deal with what life throws at you, even when things aren't going your way. Action speaks louder than any words or plans. You can read and plan all you want, but without action, it's just wishful thinking. The disciplined ones in life are the ones who are truly free. Without discipline, you're a slave to your whims and impulses. Life keeps teaching you lessons until you finally get them. Running from your problems won't make them disappear. The only way to get past them is to face them. Regret is a heavy burden, and it can linger for a lifetime if you don't learn to forgive yourself and others. And don't let people take advantage of your kindness. Set boundaries, know your limits. Dreams often fade when you let fear hold you back. Sometimes we're more afraid of success than failure. It's as if reaching our dreams would come with responsibilities we're not ready for. And remember, not everyone will be good to you, and you can't be good to everyone. Life is about balance. You have to prioritize your own happiness sometimes. Your family and friends might mean well, but they don't always know what's best for you. Love is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't mean you should accept poor treatment. People who truly care will respect you and treat you well. And taking risks? Yes, it's scary. But if you don't take those leaps, you'll never know what you're capable of achieving. It's during the worst times that people's true colors come out. The ones who stick around? Those are your real people. And here's something to remember: if you don't heal from your past, you're going to bleed on people who had nothing to do with your wounds. Blaming others doesn't fix anything. Change comes from taking responsibility for your own life. And knowledge? It comes at a cost. It's not free, you have to pay attention. And when things get tough, don't just abandon ship. Sometimes, a little patience and a steady hand can get you through the storm. That's it for part 3. Stick with us because there's still so much more to dive into. And don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, and share this with someone who needs a little reminder to keep pushing forward. Sometimes, life can feel like it's throwing everything at you all at once. In those moments, remember that challenges are just stepping stones. They're here to teach you something, to make you stronger. Instead of letting them weigh you down, learn to rise above. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you're out there, facing things you thought you couldn't handle. One of the biggest lessons? Don't let temporary emotions lead to permanent decisions. When you're feeling hurt, frustrated, or even excited, it's easy to make choices you might regret later. Take a breath, step back, and think. Acting in the heat of the moment can sometimes cause more harm than good. Here's a tough one: letting go of people who no longer bring positivity into your life. Just because you've known someone forever doesn't mean they have a permanent place in your life. As you grow, your circle might shrink, and that's okay. Quality over quantity, always. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who drag you down. And here's a reminder that might be hard to swallow: not everyone who started with you will finish with you. As you evolve, so will the people around you, and some won't keep up. Let them go. You're on your own journey, and it's okay if not everyone understands it. Your path is yours alone, and it's up to you to keep moving forward, regardless of who's with you. Another thing? Success isn't about how much you say you'll do, it's about what you actually accomplish. A lot of people talk about their dreams, but few take action. Don't just be another voice in the crowd. Be someone who does what they say they'll do. Let your actions speak louder than your words, and watch how that changes your life. Ever notice how people tend to get jealous when you start doing better? The truth is, some people only like you when you're struggling. They want you to succeed, but only up to a point. Once you start to rise, they pull away or even start to criticize you. Don't let their jealousy hold you back. Keep pushing forward, and surround yourself with people who genuinely celebrate your success. And remember, no one is perfect. It's okay to have flaws. Perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only leads to disappointment. Embrace who you are, imperfections and all. You'll attract the right people when you're being true to yourself, not when you're trying to be someone you're not. This brings us to another important point: forgive yourself for your past mistakes. We all mess up. It's part of being human. Instead of beating yourself up over things you can't change, focus on what you can control, your present. Learn from those mistakes, but don't let them define you. Your past is a chapter, not the whole book. On the topic of forgiveness, it's also crucial to forgive others. Holding on to grudges only weighs you down. When you let go of resentment, you free yourself from the past and make room for growth. Forgiving doesn't mean you forget, it just means you're not letting it control your emotions anymore. Now, here's something to consider: don't expect life to be fair. Fairness is a human construct, and the world doesn't operate on our expectations. Instead of asking why something happened to you, ask yourself what you can learn from it. Every experience, good or bad, has something to teach. Your struggles, they build resilience. Your successes, they're a result of perseverance. And while we're at it, let's talk about criticism. Not everyone who criticizes you is out to get you. Constructive criticism can be a gift. Use it to improve, not to discourage yourself. But remember, not all criticism is worth your time. If someone isn't where you want to be, take their opinions with a grain of salt. Learn to filter out the noise. In the pursuit of success, it's easy to compare yourself to others. But remember, everyone's journey is different. Your timeline isn't theirs. Comparison only robs you of joy and makes you feel inadequate for no reason. Focus on your path, your growth, and your progress. Your only competition should be who you were yesterday. One thing that's crucial on this journey is self-discipline. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's what keeps you moving forward, even when motivation fades. Motivation is great, but it's temporary. Discipline is what will get you through the days when you don't feel like showing up. A reminder about relationships: the way people treat you is a reflection of them, not you. Don't internalize someone else's behavior. If someone is toxic or doesn't appreciate you, that's on them. Walk away if you need to. Your peace is worth more than keeping people around who don't value you. And here's something you might not realize: you don't owe anyone an explanation for putting yourself first. Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking time for yourself isn't something you need to justify. The people who truly care about you will understand that. In those moments when everything feels overwhelming, remember that it's okay to slow down. Life isn't a race. It's okay to pause, take a break, and regroup. Your mental health is more important than any deadline or goal. Taking care of yourself will make you more effective in the long run. If you're ever feeling lost or stuck, just take the next small step. You don't have to know every detail of the path ahead. Sometimes, all you need is enough clarity for the next step. Keep moving, even if it's one small step at a time. Progress is progress, no matter how slow. Let's not forget the power of gratitude. No matter where you are in life, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, and that change in perspective can make all the difference. Start each day by reminding yourself of the little things that bring you joy. And here's another tough truth: not everyone is going to support you, and that's okay. Sometimes, the people you thought would cheer you on are the ones who hold you back. Don't let their lack of support stop you. Use it as motivation to keep going. Lastly, remember that happiness is an inside job. If you're waiting for someone else to make you happy, you'll always be disappointed. Happiness doesn't come from things, people, or achievements, it comes from within. Work on finding joy in your own company, and you'll discover a whole new level of contentment. Now, as we wrap up this section, take a moment to think about all these truths. Life isn't always easy, but it's worth it. The journey might be tough, but every lesson, every challenge, brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. That's part 4. We're almost there, so stick around for even more insights. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if anything here resonated with you. We're building something powerful here, and we'd love for you to be part of it. Sometimes, it's easy to get stuck on what didn't work out, but one of the hardest truths is that not everything in life is meant for you. Certain opportunities, people, and situations come into your life just to teach you something, not to stay forever. Holding on too tightly only creates frustration and disappointment. Learn to recognize when it's time to let go and move on. That's how you make space for what's truly meant for you. Here's another truth: fear is often just a story we tell ourselves. Most of the time, the things we're afraid of aren't as bad as we imagine. Fear only has power if we let it control us. If there's something you really want to do but you're hesitating, try to take one small step forward. Once you start moving, fear starts to lose its grip. You'll realize it's not as scary as it seemed when you were standing still. And let's talk about expectations. Sometimes, we expect people to show up for us in ways we show up for them. But not everyone will meet your standards, and that's okay. People are different, they love, care, and express in unique ways. Holding on to rigid expectations only sets you up for disappointment. Learn to appreciate people for who they are, not who you think they should be. Lowering your expectations doesn't mean settling, it means recognizing the reality of human relationships. One of the best things you can do for yourself? Stop chasing happiness and start creating it. Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you build from within. It doesn't come from a new relationship, a new job, or a fancy vacation. It's about learning to find joy in the everyday moments, those little things we often take for granted. Happiness is about perspective, not possessions. Now, let's get real about failure. We've all been taught to fear it, but failure is actually one of life's best teachers. Every failure brings a lesson, an opportunity to grow and improve. Instead of running from failure, learn to embrace it. See it as part of the journey, not the end. Every successful person has a list of failures they've learned from. It's through those experiences that they find the path forward. And when it comes to growth, remember that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Growth often feels awkward, messy, and downright hard. If you're feeling out of place, like you don't know what you're doing, take that as a sign that you're moving in the right direction. Comfort zones are safe, but they're also limiting. You can't become who you want to be if you stay where you are. Now, self-care isn't just about pampering yourself, it's about setting boundaries and saying no when you need to. Sometimes, the best way to take care of yourself is by not taking on other people's problems. You're not responsible for fixing everyone around you. It's okay to care, but you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking time for yourself doesn't make you selfish, it makes you stronger. And while we're talking about strength, understand that true strength isn't about never breaking. It's about knowing you can pick yourself back up after you fall. Life will knock you down, that's just how it goes. But resilience is built every time you stand back up. You might not be able to control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. Here's a big one: stop comparing your journey to someone else's. It's easy to look at others and think they have it all figured out, but remember, you're seeing their highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes struggle. Comparison is the thief of joy. Your path is unique to you, with its own challenges and timelines. Focus on your own progress, and celebrate the small victories. Another powerful truth? You can't control what people think of you. People will have opinions, judgments, and assumptions, but that's on them, not you. Don't let someone else's opinion of you define who you are. Live your life in a way that feels right to you, not according to someone else's expectations. If you constantly try to please others, you'll lose yourself in the process. And here's the thing about kindness: it's often mistaken for weakness. But being kind doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose to respond with empathy, even when it's difficult. Kindness is a strength, not a flaw. But be careful, there's a fine line between being kind and being taken advantage of. Know your limits, and don't let anyone make you feel guilty for enforcing them. While we're on the topic of limits, remember that success doesn't come from saying yes to everything. In fact, saying no can be one of the most powerful tools for creating a fulfilling life. When you say no to things that don't serve you, you make room for things that truly matter. Saying no can be hard, especially when you don't want to disappoint others, but prioritizing yourself is essential for growth. Here's a truth that might be hard to accept: not everyone you lose is a loss. Some people are only in your life for a season, to teach you something or help you grow in a specific way. When they're gone, let them go. Holding on to people who don't belong in your life anymore only holds you back from where you're meant to be. The right people will stay, and the wrong ones will make room for better relationships. And don't forget, forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Holding on to anger and resentment only hurts you in the end. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone what someone did, it means you're choosing to release the emotional weight it has on you. By forgiving, you're setting yourself free from a cycle of negativity. Here's another big truth: no one is going to hand you the life you want. If you're waiting for the right time or for someone to give you a break, you'll be waiting forever. Take action now. Create your own opportunities, and don't be afraid to go after what you want. Life rewards those who take initiative, not those who wait on the sidelines. Let's talk about change. People often say they want to change, but when it comes down to it, they're not willing to put in the work. Change doesn't happen overnight, and it's rarely easy. It takes consistent effort, commitment, and a willingness to face discomfort. If you really want something to change in your life, you have to start by changing yourself. Lastly, remember to show gratitude to the people who've supported you along the way. It's easy to get caught up in your own world and forget about those who've been there for you. Take a moment to appreciate them. Send a message, make a call, or just let them know how much they mean to you. Gratitude strengthens bonds and reminds you of the people who make your journey worthwhile. These are the truths that often go unspoken, but embracing them can lead to a life of purpose and fulfillment. Growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. You're building a future step by step, learning as you go. One of the biggest lessons we can learn in life is to trust the timing of things. Sometimes we want something so badly, and when it doesn't happen right away, we get frustrated. But patience is everything. Life has a way of unfolding exactly as it should, even if we don't always see it. Trust that where you are now is preparing you for where you're meant to go. It's easy to get caught up in wanting to rush through life, to reach that next milestone, but in doing so, we miss the present. The truth is, the journey is as important as the destination. Don't just live for some future moment, appreciate where you are now, even if it's not perfect. Growth and happiness aren't waiting for you at the end of the road, they're in every step you take along the way. And here's something that can be hard to accept: sometimes, the people closest to you won't understand your journey. They might not support your dreams or get why you're working so hard for something that they don't see. That's okay. Your dreams don't need validation from anyone else. Keep going, even if you're the only one who believes in yourself. Another truth? Not every day will feel like progress, and that's perfectly normal. There will be days when it feels like you're stuck or even going backward. Those days are part of the process too. Rest if you need to, but don't give up. Progress isn't always obvious, but every small step, even the tough ones, gets you closer to where you're meant to be. One of the most freeing things you can do is to let go of the need for approval. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The only approval you need is your own. When you stop seeking validation from others, you can start living authentically, in a way that feels right for you. Here's another big one: learn to enjoy your own company. Being comfortable with yourself is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. If you can find happiness alone, then everything else is a bonus. Relying on others for happiness only sets you up for disappointment. Build a life that feels good to you, not just one that looks good to others. At some point, we all face criticism. But remember, no one who is truly happy and secure in themselves feels the need to tear others down. Criticism often says more about the critic than the person being judged. Take constructive feedback when it helps you grow, but let go of the negativity that doesn't serve you. And when it comes to success, remember that it's not just about achieving things. Real success is living a life you're proud of, a life that aligns with your values and goals. It's about creating a legacy, not just for others to see but for you to feel at peace with. Success isn't one size fits all. Define what it means for you, and don't let anyone else dictate that. Let's talk about failure again. We're often taught to avoid it, but failure is an essential part of growth. Failing means you tried. It means you took a risk. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Some of the most successful people failed countless times before they found their path. Don't let one setback make you give up on your dreams. Here's a reality check: some people will never change, and that's not your fault. No matter how much you try to help or support them, some individuals are simply set in their ways. Don't drain yourself trying to fix people who don't want to be helped. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is let them go and focus on your own growth. In life, you'll have to make sacrifices. There's no way around it. Whether it's time, comfort, or relationships, the things that matter most require you to give up something else. Decide what's worth sacrificing for, and make those choices with purpose. Every decision shapes your future, so make sure you're investing in what truly matters to you. And remember, the road to your dreams isn't a straight line. There will be detours, setbacks, and times when you feel lost. That's all part of the journey, Trust that even the challenging moments are shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Stay focused on the bigger picture and don't let temporary obstacles make you lose sight of your long-term goals. Another important thing? Learn to say goodbye with grace. Not every person, place, or opportunity is meant to last forever. Part of growth is knowing when to let go. Cherish the memories, appreciate the lessons, and move on without bitterness. Holding on to things that no longer serve you only holds you back from what's next. And don't underestimate the power of kindness. A simple act of kindness can create ripples that reach further than you'd imagine. It doesn't take much effort to show compassion, to offer a helping hand, or to just listen. Being kind not only makes a difference in others' lives, but also brings a sense of fulfillment that material success can't offer. When it comes to self-improvement, remember that it's a lifelong journey. There's no finish line. Growth is continuous, and there's always room to learn, to become better, and to understand more about yourself. Don't rush it. Embrace each stage, and give yourself grace as you grow. And finally, let's talk about gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in what's missing or what's going wrong. But taking a moment to appreciate what you do have can shift your entire perspective. Gratitude reminds us of the beauty that's already present in our lives. It's about focusing on abundance, not scarcity, and realizing that we have more blessings than we might initially see. As we wrap up, remember this: life is a journey of learning, growth, and discovery. Every experience, every lesson, every challenge is part of the process. Embrace the ups and downs, the wins and losses. Learn from every step, and know that you are stronger, wiser, and more resilient with each challenge you overcome. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Life isn't always easy, but with the right mindset and a willingness to keep going, there's so much potential for growth and fulfillment. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your reflections on these truths. Remember, we're all in this together, learning and growing every day. And that's a wrap. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.